I am Dana Dubois of I Write Out Loud, and this is not. Oh, hi, Kiki. Hi, Linnea. This is not where I usually do my I Write Out Loud podcasts. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of my view here. It's This is one of my favorite self-taught spots. You can't see it. Maybe if I stand up like this, hi, Linnea, you can kind of see right there. That's the entrance to the pool that I love. But you have to be staying at the hotel to go to the pool. And off season, we sometimes let me just sneak in and go for a swim. But this is very much on season and it's very packed at the pool. And so I am here in the rooftop bar. I ordered a glass of pink bubbly. It's cava rosé. And I'm doing a spontaneous live. I told you all, well, those of you who regularly tune in for my I Write Out Louds, I think you all know that I Write Out Loud is my memoir writing project, and I have been posting a story a day, more or less, during the week for a few weeks. And usually each day I've been going live and talking about the story. But I am on vacation this week with my kids who are visiting my family, my mom and my dad a bit here in South Florida. So I have not been able to go live. And I was like, if I manage to go live, it's going to be spontaneous. You should be able to use it if you're spending money there. I know, but it's full. This is peak season. It's midwinter break week. There's a big tennis tournament going on here. And this hotel is very expensive. I've looked at booking a room before, and a week like this, it's probably like $800 a night or something. So no, thank you. But other times they do let me sneak in as long as I'm ordering food and drinks. They let me, and I love it. But this time I'm just going to squat here in the corner. Are you able to hear me? Because to me, the music behind me is super loud. But unfortunately, unless I go sit like in the middle, I don't know if I can get away from it, which I feel weird podcasting right in the middle. If it's too noisy, let me know and I'll move. I'm trying sound great. Okay, so you can hear me loud and clear, I hope, and can barely hear the music. iPhone's good about that, isn't it? So thank you to all of you who are here joining me. I cheers to you. I'll make a toast to you. Here's to taking time to live our lives so that we have stories to tell. Cheers. Check this out. Hey, baby, good stories. I'll do another cheers. Mm, that was yummy. In about 5 minutes, it's going to need ice. It's very hot here, as you can probably tell. The funny thing about me, though, is I grew up in Florida, so I adapt really well to heat. My children who profess to loving heat, especially my older daughter, they're like little wilting flowers. So earlier today, we went to this nature preserve on the Everglades called Waxahachie Preserve. And I may share some photos to Substack because it was so beautiful. You're like walking on a boardwalk over the Everglades, and I've never seen birds like this. Birds everywhere, and they're all nesting. These giant, beautiful, I forgot what kind of birds they are, but they're amazing. Tons of iguanas. We saw a couple alligators, like 5 foot long alligators. It was really cool. We try to go there every visit. It's so beautiful, but it's like 85 degrees out. So my mom and her partner and my kids of my mom's apartment across the street chilling out. And I was like, I want to be in the sun, you guys. I'm going to go get a drink at the pool next across the street. And I was like, they won't let me sneak in the pool. I'm going to at least sneak a glass of bubbly and hop on their Wi-Fi and talk to all of you. It's been a good trip so far. And I have also published a few stories. I loaded them before I left. And so they have gone live, but I haven't really been able to keep up that well with comments and with like posting anecdotes about the stories. I've mostly just been doing some restacks here and there where I can. And so I feel like these stories have not gotten the attention that they deserve. I may talk about them a bit here. And then I'm trying to decide when I get back and have more time if I'll do an individual I Write Out Loud for the stories. I don't have my laptop here, and so I can't cut and paste the links in. If you click through my name at the top and go I Write Out Loud, it will be the 3 most recent stories. Should I keep talking about being in paradise or should I talk about the stories? Or both? I suppose I could do both. Um, it's funny because I can't read that well. I'm going to try to read your comments, but if I put my sunglasses on, I won't be able to see my screen at all. Um, and obviously, I'm holding in my hand, so I might be bouncing a bit. Apologies for that. I did not bring my stand with me here. Um, okay, we'll talk about the stories a bit. You see somebody with both. Okay, both. So I posted a story on Monday. It was a brand new one. And I did do a live about that because I was still in Seattle. That story was about me using AI as a pattern recognition tool in dating and kind of how helpful it has been. I'm really proud of that story. Um, yeah, it got some attention. I was hoping that one might have a chance of like popping off and going viral. It was not yet. But I've already talked about that one. I didn't post anything on Tuesday because I posted last Saturday. So I was averaging out at 5 a week. And that was like my dealing with jet lag day. And Stuart, hi, I see you joined and I know you're close by. I got your message. I have, I'm sorry, I have not written you back yet. But I know you're close. So hello, greetings from South Florida. Mm. When I'm with my family, I'm not as responsive as I usually am. So my apologies. Um, okay, back to the story. So on Wednesday and Thursday, I posted um, two stories from my archive that go hand in hand. And it's interesting because they didn't publish at the same time. In fact, the earlier story published later. So there was kind of a topsy-turviness. I was trying, that was actually the first story I submitted to Modern Love. I was very ambitious. They did not say yes. But I posted these two stories together and I'm trying to remember the exact title, but they go hand in hand. One is called I Fell in Love with a Man I Never Met. And the second is called Falling in Love Through My Thumbs. Some people walking by, but maybe a little noisy. Okay, I think they've passed by. So those two stories are about the same man in the same situation. And here's what's interesting to me about that story. Sorry, I'm being really distracted because the reggae music behind me is doing a reggae version of Blackbird by the Beatles and Beyonce. Or if you can hear it, but it's awful. Wait, it is. Just for the moment, you're there. Ugh, it's bad. I'm not a reggae fan. Um, I would maybe make an exception because I'm coastside right now, but it depends. It is. Anyhow, this story. See if I can focus while this. I'm very distracted by background music because to me it's very much in the foreground. So I'll try to focus. Um, what I'm really realizing that I'm finding fascinating when analyzing my own writing is each of the stories that I have written about dating and, you know, dating, love, sex, relationships, all that stuff, they have each posted sequentially as I've lived them, right? And so I didn't know what was going to happen from one to the next. I'm going to move. So I see a place that's a little shaded that might be quiet. Hang on. Walk with me. Oh, yeah. See, I can already tell that's better. The music is not as loud. And look, so it's so shaded. It is by the bar, so it won't get noisy. But at least that's just like background noise, not loud music. So not this past week, but the week before, each of the stories I shared on I Write It Loud were origin stories for me. And by that, I mean, there's stories that I wrote early on as a memoirist. So in 2023, and each of them ended up becoming kind of archetypes for other content, other stories or podcasts that I would write or speak going forward. There was one about my dad and dementia and aging. There was one about my child and parent and gender non-conforming kids. But there was one about dating. Excuse me. And it was called I Had a Little Our Relationship. I wrote that a couple months after my last very long-term relationship ended. That one was about 6 years. And I wrote it as a form of kind of closure on that relationship. And what I'm realizing now, the two stories I posted today were the next two about dating and relationships that I wrote because they were the next two I lived. It was the one relationship, and I'm using that word very lightly, that I lived, right? And what I'm realizing in kind of reviewing my body of work for this I Write Out Loud project is each of those stories has a narrative arc. That's how I write. In the aggregate, these stories are forming a narrative arc in real time for me as I'm kind of reviewing where I've been and assessing how it's impacting me romantically now. And I'm realizing, like, Jesus Christ, it's no wonder I'm a little gun shy, I guess, or shook, as my kids would say. Like, it hasn't necessarily been a great go of it. And I don't think I'm alone in that. I think modern dating sucks. So this story, wait, I'll pause there for a second. What's interesting in the narrative arc that I'm noticing is how I go from regulated to dysregulated and back. Mostly just from regulated to dysregulated though. So when I wrote, I had a little R relationship. I'm documenting the disillusion of a 6-year relationship that I was in, right? The kind of why things didn't work out. And when the story ends, it ends with like, I am at peace. And I say something like, oh, I'm thinking about putting up an online dating profile, but like, why would I? I'm really happy right now. Part of leaving that relationship was choosing this peace and also just choosing the sense of like, my own life is more fun than the life that I was having dating this person. I wanted to immerse myself in my writing and my friends and my interests. So I'm coming from this very rounded, regulated spot. Like, I am great. My life is fucking awesome. But where that story ends and where the first of the two stories begins, the one that's called I Fell in Love with a Man I Never Met, I'm questioning myself because I know that, I'm Gen X by my age. If we women don't make an effort to meet men and date, like we can just sort of fall off and never date again. I have a lot of friends who are like that, who are just like, peace out, don't want to anymore. And at the beginning of these stories, I'm like, do I really want to be done? Am I done? That's the theme I'm exploring. And I being me and looking back, the essay about I had a little R relationship posted a couple months after the relationship ended. So in late October, mid to late October, I put my first dating profile up right around the same time. And so that, oh, I'm so grounded and I'm not sure if I'm ready. That was like thoughts I was having before. But by the time I posted it live, I was already like, I don't want to be done. I think I want to explore from this very grounded, regulated place of like, it might be fun to see if there is romance still out there for me. Perhaps there's, I have always been the sort of person who thinks that life is better with a good partnership. Good being the important, better than good. But a solid, strong, awesome partnership just makes things just spicier and more fun, right? So I put up a Facebook dating profile. Oh, wait, I see a couple comments. Let me see. That's pretty much where I am. Dating is on the review. I'm younger and pieced out and haven't looked back. You need to choose which is right for you. Yes. I wish I could just come to peace and be like, I don't need to be in a relationship. I think like it is a very strong like core here. I know that I'm like, I am facing down my my final adult before geriatric phase of life. My kids are getting ready to leave home in a couple of years. They'll both be presumably out of home at college. And I'm like, I want a partner for that, like a romantic and sexual partner, and also just sort of a life and financial partner, someone who like wants to hit the ground with me and have a lot of fun, right? And just sort of enjoy this that final like before we're really old phase that I hope will last a very long time. I want to travel. I want to have a lot of sex. I want to do a lot of fun things, support each other, build a sense of family. Like I really do want that. But in order to have that, one needs to go through these other stages, right? Key pieces. A relationship is the last thing I'm interested in at this point. I'm at peace. Good. I wish I felt that way, but I didn't. But after all these misadventures, like, fuck, I might get there. So here's how this went. Men are mostly very boring on dating apps. And then here comes this guy who's very literate in my feed. It starts chatting me up, but he lives in Vancouver, BC. He lives in Canada because Facebook dating is lazy and sets your search to 200 miles. And I'm in Seattle. And so um, Canada is within my range, right? I always get Canadian people still, even though I've it set, keep it close. I still get people from Canada. And so this guy starts chatting with me. And you guys, he was very, very dreamy. I'm still like, oh my God, I don't want to out who he is, but he is a professor and a writer and so handsome. Oh my God. And just so eloquent and delightful. I have found that so many progressive men still hold on to a lot of misogyny and still can't figure out how to talk to you without turning into creeps. Yes. Yes. That happens. But this guy was lovely. And we started this conversation and I proceed to remember I'm coming out of a 6+ year relationship with someone who I was like, I choose you. This is very good for me, but who never activated my heart, guts, and the rest of my body. Like I know I'm capable of being activated. And so here comes this guy, and I'm so like turned on by this, right? So he's reading my work and I'm reading his work and we're talking about our lives. And he is like freshly out of a very long marriage and has a teenage daughter. But it's like a marriage that ended, lack of passion, blah, blah, blah. We've all heard the story, right? And I am just the fool. I just rush headlong in. And he's even more of a night owl than I am. And we proceed to basically stop sleeping because we both have our jobs in our lives and we message a bit during the day. But then, like, for hours every night, we just dive into each other head first, right? And so I love being a witness to this blossoming new love. Yeah, this is not a new love. So this is from 2 years ago, and don't get too optimistic about this story. So, um, so here I go, just being like all in, but virtual. And in this story, the one thing that I realized, and that I'm really still quite aware of and interested in dating, is the way we come online for one another. This is in the first story. That at first it was just us messaging through Facebook Messenger. We could just see our profiles and our words. Then we friended one another on Facebook. And so we jumped into one another's profiles. And it's a curated life, but you can see more of I could see more of his life. I found out what his name was, that he was this person he said he was, and could see his work online. We shared stories. And then eventually we moved on to voice memos and I could hear his voice. And oh my God, he had a beautiful, deep, like sonorous voice. I love voices. And then I proposed we have a virtual date, right? So in real time, we talked, and how at the beginning that felt so overstimulating because we were accustomed to being able to move at our own pace when we were talking and to respond and be clever. And here we had to talk in real time, but it was beautiful. And I was like, I know this is crazy. He's 140 miles away. He's in another country and also very freshly out of a 20-year relationship. But I was freshly out of a 6-year relationship, right? And I was like, maybe this is how love happens for me. Like I believe in stuff like that where people connect and they have such an intellectual connection and they're each other's types, and like you can transcend distance. And I was like, it's far, but it's not that far. I mean, it's drivable. And now with how things are politically, I'm like, God damn it. I could be Canadian by now, you guys. Oh, but I'm giving you some spoilers. The first story ends, hold on, with us talking about synesthesia, which is the idea that some people, usually neurodivergent people, have this ability to perceive two senses at once. And that's things like colors have sound, or letters. In his case, letters have colors. I don't really think I have much synesthesia. I do a little. Like people and things, when they have names, become the first letter. And so for reasons I can't explain, I have a cat named Kispin, and obviously that's spelled with a key, but a K, but he's a C. I don't know why, but he's a C. And REO Speedwagon sounds like copper pennies. I don't know why, but they do. So I have a little bit of it, but he was talking about his synesthesia and how letters have colors for him, which I thought was beautiful. And in the end of the story, I suggest to him, I'm going to say them in order. Bellingham. Oh my God, why am I forgetting the other B town? Bellingham, something, and Blaine. I named these 3 cities, and he says they're red. And I'm like, they're not red, they're blue. Come on. All those bulbous bees, they're like a cool blue-green. And he says, wait, why did you say those cities? They're the path between Seattle and Vancouver. And I was trying to be clever and literary and say, why don't we meet halfway? I want to meet you. Knowing how scary that is, right? Because it's depending which city we picked, we're about 2.5 hours apart, plus however long it takes to get over the border, which one person would have to do. And obviously this was 2023. So I even say in the story, like Canada and the US have such a friendly relationship, but I'm now like, that hasn't aged well, right? But I proposed this and he likes the idea when I say it, and then he makes no move toward actually doing it. And that sets off a little alarm in my head, but I'm like, I'm going to be patient with this one. He's not ready yet. And I wrote that story and I sent it to him and he loved it. And I sent it to the New York Times Modern Love. And I didn't publish it for a very long time. I think the whole relationship round trip was about 5 or 6 weeks. He started completely melting down. I think it's like, this is causing me so much anxiety. I really like you and care about you and I think you're great, but it's causing me too much anxiety. And eventually he was just like, I need a break for a few days. And that was it. That's more the second story, just the falling in love through my thumbs, where I recap some of the first story because I published it first. And then I talk about how my heart will always take foolish leaps. Border crossings are still easy. Okay, good to know, Ted. Good to know. I mean, they probably would be for me as a white woman. He was a Black man, so they might have been trickier. I don't know. I don't know. All I know is that not only did it not work out romantically, he completely just went dark. Couldn't deal with me at all. It's not in the story, but a month or so after that, it was his birthday. And I just quietly messaged him and said, hi, happy birthday. And he was sort of like, oh, hi. And that was it. And I have never reached out again. And I wish I could say that was the only time someone has gone from this very intense start of relationship, whether verbal or otherwise, or written or otherwise, and then realized they were in a situation where they're just leaving a relationship, they're grieving in some way, and then poof, they're gone. Spoiler alert for so many. And hold on, I'm reading the comments here. Take the train by yourself along Puget Sound. Oh, I know, it's fucking beautiful. Agreed, Arkham's beautiful. I have done it before. That's disappointing. It's brutal. It was brutal. I mean, first of all, I was not sleeping anymore hardly. I was up with him till 2 or 3 or later every night. Texting into the night. And I was still getting up for getting my kids to school and getting to work. I stopped writing memoir pretty much in that time period because I was all of my extra time and all of my literary everything was going into this relationship. And what it was, like looking back at the full narrative arc of my last 2.5 years, this was the first destabilization, right? Because I entered it like, I am in this stable place. I left this last relationship of my own accord. I'm grounded. I feel great. I'm taking care of myself. I'm going to try dating. I'm going to put my feet down on the ground and be like, I'm going to try this. Instantly, like not just swept off my feet, but like flew up to the clouds and then kicked back to the ground really hard. And I know that sounds super silly when it's someone I never met in person. I obviously, filled in a lot of blanks. I wish I could have taken the train by myself to see him. I would have done it in a fucking heartbeat. I would have hopped on that train with every bit of enthusiasm I had. He couldn't do it. I have no idea what happened to him. If he got back together with the longtime ex that he had just left. I suspect that's what they usually do. I don't know. Or he's with someone else who is closer by, or who knows. All I know is that debating what to say here. There's a sense, I have a sense of I am highly emotionally intelligent and very courageous with my heart. And that I don't really need to learn the lesson again, that my heart will be a fool and rush in and offer a lot of emotional support and take chances on men who are probably not available, because I give benefit of the doubt like that when they show up, even though I know that the showing up is frequently a fantasy. And then, poof, as soon as I start to believe in it, I get left holding all of the emotional ow and they disappear. But this was the first time that happened post this very long-term relationship. I mean, I had plenty of times when that happened beforehand, but this was a brutal reminder that, like, oh, your heart is very foolish, Dana. And tempted to give details about him, but I won't, because he is, I think, a bit of a public figure. But I will not disclose any more details than that. It was a beautiful love affair when it lasted. And then I sort of start asking the question of, like, is it a love affair when it's all virtual, right? Well, hold on, I see a comment. Crappy childhood fairy. Have you heard of her? But it happened. Ouch. Yes. Ken Reed talks about these kinds of relationships. He's amazing at unpacking the specific style of whirlwind connection. Amanda, will you email me that name? Because I have a brain. Mia Sarah joined. Mia Sarah, aren't you the actress who played Sloane in Ferris Bueller's Day Off? You have the same name as her, at least. I'm pretty sure I'm remembering that right. Yeah, it's brutal when that happens. And I'm sure it happens to people of all genders, but I feel like it more often happens to women by men seeking this sort of sexual energy, romantic energy, emotional. I heard another story about him that was called, I'm trying to remember, I think I called it an emotional wet nurse. It's not a catchy term, but I need a better term for it. This idea of, like, do you know what a wet nurse is? Like, it was back in the olden days, pre-formula, when rich people would hire or enslave lactating moms to nurse their babies so that their wealthy wives didn't have to, or if they didn't have milk for their babies. That's called being a wet nurse. And I feel like men tend to not have friends. They have wives or girlfriends. And so when they lose their primary relationship, not only are they heartbroken or dealing with the fallout of it, they also are dealing with the loss of their confidant, their person. And so they tend to find a woman like me who can both serve the sexual romantic sort of energy they want and also be really good on the emotional part. The last time that happened to me, which was pretty recently, I refused to give back that emotional energy, and he disappeared within days. It was rather remarkable. I used ChatGPT to help with that too. That was part of that article. And I'm pretty sure the part of the reason he disappeared like that was because I was not giving, be like, oh my God, how can I help you with that? I was like, nope, you need to pull down your own oxygen mask and put it on dealing with your breakup. So I think that this is a familiar pattern to me, and it's one I'm trying to get better about. But also, I know by my age, by Gen X age, we are all in some form of grief if we're single, right? My grief is like this prolonged lack of partnership. So it is a quieter grief. Excuse me, but it certainly comes with its own form of heartache. So these two stories together, I loved being able to post them side by side finally. And I need to go back in because I've been traveling. I haven't been updating as much, and to make it more like to link them now that both the links are live so people can see it's part 1 and part 2. Those are, I'm sorry, I can't put the links in the chat. It's because I'm in a bar on a rooftop. For those of you who just joined in Delray Beach, Florida. So to those of you who've joined, cheers. Thank you for being here. So, yeah, these stories were, do I like it comes down to the like, was it a waste of time and emotional energy and bandwidth? I don't know. I think these sorts of stories enrich who we are. I loved the connection that I had with him. Honestly, if he wrote me tomorrow, like I would love to still know him, but I don't, I mean, he disappeared. So I probably should be angrier. A lot of time has passed. I would definitely need an apology before there would be anything beyond like talking before I would reconnect, but I don't think that's an option. He will not do that. Let's see. Did I learn anything from it? In the end, what do you want readers to say? Sorry, I'm reading back through this. In the end, what do I want readers to say about the story? Hi, Alan. Y'all, one of my best friends, Alan, just joined. Cheers, Alan. I'm in Delray Beach. Mm. So what do I want readers to say? I guess you mean about the story. Maybe that they find it relatable, either because they've lived it or because I took them through an experience they hadn't had, where they were rooting for him, they were rooting for us, or maybe where they were like, "Oh no, girl, no, 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 girl, no." And they were telling me to hold back because they recognized the pattern. I just hope people find it relatable. And what I learned from it is the same lesson of like, um, you are me. I am ready for love, and I recognize that it may come in untraditional ways like that. I am willing to go out on limbs. I am proud of that this heart can still do that. It would do it again tomorrow, the same sort of risk. Honestly, it's doing it right now. Person I'm currently seeing. Um, with him, I probably like the lesson learned would have been I let him destabilize me a little bit too much. The lack of sleep, there should have been boundaries, and I probably should have insisted a little heavier of like, I'm going to need to meet you if this is to continue because I'm giving this all of my good energy and I don't want a pen pal only. So I think if I had pushed, it would have ended sooner. And then I probably would have been like, oh, I wonder if I hadn't pushed, I might have stuck it out. But that's a pretty reasonable amount of pushing to say like, when and how would you feel comfortable eventually meeting and how can we plan to make that happen? Where in the story, I mention it. And then when he says no, I just let it sit because I say, oh, he'll be ready at some point, probably. And that probably wasn't me asking enough in terms of meeting where I was. That's what I learned. But mostly what I learned is I still have an open, stupid, foolish, not stupid, but foolish heart. And I'm happy I did as much as it can hurt. These days, I try to use my other organs to protect my foolish heart a bit more. And also ChatGPT to serve as my wingman / pattern analyzer. Mm. I suspect if I had done that and I'd pasted what was happening into my little bot, it would have been like, girl, you got to sleep. Don't do this. Don't do this. If you think you fell for him, then he's a fugitive. You must decide he's a fugitive. He's not a fugitive. Going to watch Waj, have fun. Tell Waj hi. Yeah. I don't know Waj, but I watch him. He's probably talking about the news, which has been pretty fucking compelling today. So thanks to you all for tuning into me talking about memoir while our world is, very proud of our Supreme Court today, at least 6 of them. That's all I'm going to say about that. This is not a political podcast. I do plenty of that. The Daily Whatever Show is about that today. And I posted another story today. I think I'll touch on it because I don't know that I'm going to have a chance to go back and do a proper I write out loud for these 3 stories I posted while I'm away. The story I shared today is one of my favorite sort of quiet ones from the archive. Like I put it on Medium a couple of years ago and it got boosted. And then it's not one that people have returned to, I don't think. But it's called Remembering Ramona, Who Can't Remember Me. Ramona's not her real name, but Ramona was probably a woman at my father's memory care. And I adored her. I don't know. I don't think she's still alive. She has been transferred off of my dad's unit because the memory care unit that he's in is for like, relatively speaking, more active seniors. Let's see. Don't keep a heavy stone in your pocket. Uh, I'm not sure what that means, Harry, but does that mean I might drown? I think that's what that probably means. I'm watching too much politics. I'm happy to have something more fun. Good. I love that story. Alan, which story do you mean? The one about, oh, I almost said his real name because Alan remembers when I was, Alan, you remember when I was virtually dating the Canadian guy, right? You didn't think he was handsome, even though he was so handsome. But you should remember that one. So I don't know if that's the story you love or the one about Ramona, but this story is called, I said, Remembering Ramona Who Can't Remember Me. She was this lovely, just tiny little British/German woman who lived in my father's memory care, who was always so compassionate and sweet. And she seemed, if you just met her for 2 seconds, you'd be like, she's great. She was walking around and just very cheery. Always had this light glow about her. But her short-term memory was about 20 seconds. But she had the most charming way of compensating for it. What I've come to learn being around elderly a lot, both as a speech therapist in my former career and now when I visit my dad, is that people, as they age and have memory loss or full-on Alzheimer's, they compensate in different ways and they respond differently. Some people become very fearful or anxious or angry. I don't ever want that kind of dementia, man. If I lose my cognitive power, please let me have a dose of the happy dementia. I want to be the one who's just like, I am so happy to see you every 5 seconds when I see the person for the first time. I'm so happy about it. That's the kind of dementia I want. I'm putting it in order now. And that is what Ramona was always like. But she had this charming way of compensating verbally for it, where she would use these kind of empty phrases, but very warm ones. And so the one that she says in the course of this story that I just loved was, it was a couple years ago. It was my dad's 3 years ago now. It was my dad's 78th birthday. He's 81 now. Threw him a party and like brought a bunch of cupcakes and non-alcoholic beer and invited everyone to come. And it was so cool because usually they all just kind of stuperously sitting around and they're watching TV and whatnot. And it really became a party. And everyone there had their one thing they kept doing over and over again. It was so easy to be a host of a party in a memory care unit because everyone just says the same thing over and over and you just have to act charmed every time. And Ramona kept saying this thing of like, well, you're wonderful and I'm wonderful. Or you're brilliant and I'm brilliant. Isn't it wonderful we get to be brilliant together? And I was like, it is. It is so wonderful that we got to be brilliant together. And I found out she was a survivor of the kinder trains in Germany. She sounded very British, but when she was a wee child of 5, I think they put her on a train. She was Jewish and she escaped Nazi Germany that way. And she remembered all of that. She couldn't remember 1 minute to the next. But what she remembered, what went deeper than memory, was her grace and her goodness. And she was there when I admitted my dad to the memory care and he was screaming and swearing at me. And it was really quite awful. That was the first time I met her. And she just came up and kind of rubbed my arm and was like, I'm so glad I don't get angry like that. So she had no idea that every time I came to see my dad, that she was this great source of comfort for me, but she always was. And the last time I saw her, I think it was a year and a half ago, maybe, she was she was not doing well. It was in February, so it might be 2 years ago, actually. I have to go see when I published that for the first story for the first time, but she was not doing well and she was kind of cowered in her chair under a blanket. And when she would wake up, she would be really scared. Where am I? What am I doing here? And it was so hard to watch. And- but I spent a lot of time with her that visit, just trying to comfort her and involve her in what we were doing. I brought cookies again and made sure she got one, but she joined us for a minute and then she kind of went back into that kind of more, not quite catatonic state, but that very sleepy, very out of it, but like the scared disoriented form of Alzheimer's, not the, oh, I have no idea, and I'm just faking it. It was so sad to see. I know they transferred her to the lower level nursing care, and I would guess she's probably no longer with us, but I will always remember her. She was a very lovely woman, and I wish I could get an update, but I'm not family, so I can't ask what happened to her. That would be unfair, and I don't know her family, so I never could share this story. But I wish they knew how much she touched me and my daughters. In the story, I outline how she met my daughters. So it was just a simple little story. I usually write about my dad, and it's a bit heavier when I write about him because there's the family of origin and stuff, and he's such a difficult father who's become so much easier with dementia. It was really fun to write this tribute to Ramona, not her real name, and the impact that she had on me, even though she would never know it and would never remember me. It's one of my favorite simple stories. And I intentionally shared it today because I'm in Florida. I'm visiting my dad. I knew I would want to see her and talk about it. Oh, thank you for the hearts, Amanda. That's very sweet. So those are the 3 stories I posted since I've been here in Florida. I have one more scheduled for next week for Monday because I'm flying back on Monday. And then Tuesday, I'll be back. I know Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I'm posting 3 more dating stories that are a triptych. They go together. And they are the next stages of what happened after things ended with the beautiful Canadian man. Because this foolish heart was like, ow, that really hurt. You know what I think I'm going to do is ask some men out and take some chances. And so there are these 3. I went on my first date, my second first date, and third first date stories in 6 years. The first one goes live Monday. They are meant to be read as a triptych. They took place within a month of each other, and they posted separately. I didn't really know as I shared them that they would end up making the next phase of the story, which is around indifference, I guess, which was also destabilizing in its own way. But we'll talk about that more next week when I post those stories. And then I'm not sure what the next 2 will be. I'm hoping to get a new story written, but I haven't had a chance to do any writing while I've been here, unfortunately. Fortunately, because I've been spending time with my family and also getting so much sleep. Oh my God, I'm so well rested. It's nice being on vacation and not being in my home where I have responsibilities and someone else is taking care of my pets. I've just been sleeping very well. Ooh. But I should probably stay up and write one of these nights. Oh, hold on. I see there's some comments here. More folks joining. Hi. They're just some people that are gold in your heart and memory. Yes. Will always be, Ramona will always be golden in my memory. And I wish I knew her family so I could tell her and I could share that story. I think they would appreciate it. I know I would appreciate seeing something like that about one of my loved ones, but I really did love her. She's really sweet. There was another woman at my dad's memory care who's passed named Diane. Oh, that was her real name. Oh, well, I think it's okay to say her name out loud. She and Ramona were friends. And I know she has passed. She was 91 at my dad's 78. So she was still walking around and otherwise seemed with it other than the memory loss. So she was a delight. And she had gone, well, I think it's okay. I don't think this is that identifying. She knew Gloria Steinem since they were young. And so she was telling me about her and stories from back in the day. And I was like, these women had fascinating stories to tell. It was pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. So yeah, the stories we have to tell, right? My story today is, hold on, I'm going to do another view so you all can see where I am. I'm at a rooftop bar listening to bad reggae music. But right through there is the pool. I would rather be at the pool, but since I'm not staying here and it's peak season, they will not let me have a guest pass to the pool today, unfortunately. And oh my God, it's so expensive to stay here on season. They were like, you should just book a room. And I'm like, sir, do I look like I have $800 a night to stay here? I mean, come on. I do not. That would be a lot of subscribers to have $800 for a. Can you imagine $800 for a hotel room for one night? I mean, it's a pretty great pool, but it's not that great, especially when my mom is right here. I can just walk over. So, and it's free to stay there. Anyhow, those are my stories. Do you guys have any questions for me or comments? Because I always love answering questions and um, hearing your feedback on what I write. And I'll ask you all a question too. I'm going to be posting 3 stories about dating next week. That's a lot, but they have to be told together because they're a triptych of stories. What other topics should I talk about? Which stories should I post? Parenting ones about my dad, cultural commentary. I am all ears. Ooh, I'm also at 20% battery power. But if you have suggestions, please share them. If I have a news story, I'll share one, but I can't guarantee I'll have one. I am unfortunately very slow when it comes to writing. I wish I were one of those people who could churn out really good essays in an hour or even a day, but I'm not. They take a lot of mulling. Mm. Would it be gauche if I asked for ice for my sparkling um, pink kava? I don't know. It might be gauche. I don't see any questions, so I will take that as these stories are so clear and I've talked about them so much. You don't need to hear any more about them. This is a really nice crowd here today, though. There's a lot of people who joined. I wasn't sure if anyone would midday like this when I gave no warning. This wasn't planned, but I'm so glad you all are here. I have weirdly missed talking about memoir. I don't know if that makes me very vain. Ask for an ice bucket. I might just be like, I don't live here, so I can be a gauche American who wants ice in my wine. I just might do that. You are fabulous. Thank you. Blushing. And usually on Sundays, I do my subscriber live. I will still be here in Florida. I'm flying out Monday morning. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do that on Sunday. I probably won't be able to. I do have some behind the scenes stuff, though. I don't know if it'll have to wait till the next Sunday or I'll have a lot to catch up on, or if I do it midweek. I will post it and give warning, though, because I know some of you who are here are paid subscribers, which I super appreciate. I didn't give my whole speech at the beginning about if you want to be a paid subscriber, I would be honored. All of the content is ahead of the paywall. All the stories, all the audio recordings of my stories and these lives. But I do a special weekly live for paid subscribers only, where I give extra tea, extra behind the scenes stuff. And for founding members, I offer a one-on-one session with me if you want to talk about not reading, that too, I guess, but writing, editing, getting live on Substack, my favorite sparkling wines, whatever you want to talk about. Hi, Lynette. I see you joining. I see a comment. By the way, this is my first Substack comment anywhere. I love that. Same generation and already a fan. Thank you, DM. I'm honored. Your first comment. Lynette says, I hope you have a great hike walk today. Are you eating outside? I can't wait to eat outside this spring. I'm not eating, but I am having some wine outside. This is where I am, Lynette. It's pretty nice here. I'm ducking in. I wish I were at the pool, but I'm at the pool top bar, to the side of the pool, the rooftop bar. It is nice. It's so nice dining outside. Like, I hate the politics here, but it is nice being able to dine outside. I will grant Florida that, even though I don't like Florida. But I was saying, yes, it's $4 a month, $40 a year if you become a paid subscriber. It's $88 to be a founding member because 8s are my favorite number. Last time I checked, y'all, I was at 98 paid subscribers. 2 more, and I get a check mark on my own. I know I have a check mark. I have a big check mark because I'm part of Fluent Media, and they have a bazillion paid subscribers. Me, myself, and I have 98. The Daily Whatever Show has more than that. We have a check mark, but to do it on my own would be such a big honor. So if you have the means and the inclination, I would so welcome your support, but no pressure, because I know times are tough for all of us. Awesome. I am living vicariously. I know. This is pretty nice. And tonight, so the the Everglades walk today was beautiful. We went to this place called Waxahachie. It's a nature preserve near Delray Beach, and it's basically like a boardwalk over the water. And I have never seen birds. Like, you just can't fathom these humongous birds. And they're all nesting right now. They were all building their nests, and they were like coupled up and snuggling. And there was one slightly like a gray bird, a different one that had a little baby. It was so cute. And we saw two alligators. I didn't see any turtles this time. I know there are turtles there, but I didn't see any. Two alligators, a ton of iguanas, which are not indigenous, but are huge and really cool. And I got a ton of photos, Lynette. I don't know if any of them are good because I had sunglasses on, so I couldn't really see. And it was so bright that I couldn't really see my screen. I was shooting blind. I took a million photos. But yes, I will post some. But what was so interesting is I think a lot of you know Jason Odell. He is a regular on the Daily Whatever show and a great guy and a great content creator here on Substack. He's a professional photographer, and he leads tours, all these different themed tours around the world. And he told me, oh, if you're there, you should go to Waxahachie. That's where I do my bird tour. So like people pay him to go with him to take bird photos there. That's how good it is. And it was funny because I was like, I've been before and we're going again tomorrow. And we were like, South Florida, the wins. Because he's from Florida. So yes, and he's our playlist guy. He's the one who made the Daily Whatever Show's Gen X playlist. He is a delight. So so yes, there were some people there with like crazy huge cameras, so I'm sure got great pics. My photos are just with my phone, but I think some of them were good. My favorite was there were some of the birds were in the water with like their wings spread really huge, and it was so still, but it was like a perfect reflecting pond. It was in the distance, so I had to use a zoom. But it's just my iPhone, so I don't know how good they look. But I'll post some photos from Waxahachie. It was beautiful. And then tonight, I'm pretty excited about this. My mom, she's kind of hard to please. She doesn't have a ton of things that she loves doing, and she's super not really that into music, unlike me. But for whatever reason, there's one cover band here. She loves this cover band, and they're playing at some Irish bar, and it's all ages until a certain hour. And so she was like, can we go when you and the kids are here? And I was like, yes. So we are going to see a band called Spider Cherry at an Irish pub at some point tonight. And I'm like, I am going to dance my pants off. I mean, not literally, I'm wearing a dress and it will stay on. But I'm going to go dance and sing along and be really stupid listening to this band. And I plan to have a ball. So it should be really fun. Music, music, music. Yeah, I am a big music nerd. So I am very excited to see this band. We're going to go get sushi beforehand. We're going to sit outside and eat sushi. And then we're going to go see this band. So it's a great fucking day. Started my day with the Daily Whatever Show and then had yummy lunch with my family and then went to the wildlife preserve. They're resting at home. I'm here drinking bubbly, talking to all of you. Then sushi, then what were they called again? Spider, I already forgot. The cover band and an Irish bar. I'm so here for it. Hold on a second. What does this say? Trifecta, sushi, music, and dancing, and sparkling wine, and podcasting, and beautiful nature. It's a good day. There's more than 100 folks in this little spontaneous live. That makes me so happy. Thank you all for coming. Seriously, that means so much to come talk memoir with me. Like that's a really big deal. I feel like I'm trying to I have found my place here in Substack. Like I love all of the folks who I know, all of the political firebrands I know, people who are really helping to inform and change the world. I am proud to be among them and to know them. I am also looking for my storytellers and my feminist weirdos. So if you know any, send them my way. But I know it's hard to make time. That's what the whole point of this I Write Out Loud project is like, it's hard to find time and space for our creative projects. So thank you for being here and supporting me while I chat on about mine. Oh, yes. So if you can read or restack these stories, if you enjoy them, comment on them, that would mean the world to me. helps more people find them on Substack. And let's see, love, love, love from Northeast Pennsylvania to Florida. Love right back to you, Lynette. Yeah, it's weird. Like, this is not where I have chosen to live, but there is a part of Florida that will always live deep in me. Like, walking around on that boardwalk today out in the Everglades, it was super hot. It was like 80, 85 here right now. And my poor kids are like little Northwest flowers. They just like wilted. And I'm like, I'm fine. I just know how to deal with heat because I grew up here. And I don't want to live in it all the time, but it feels nice. Sure feels nice to visit it. It certainly feels nice to drink champagne or cava while sitting out in it. Alan says, love you. Have a great time. Oh, Alan, I love you too. One day we're going to bring Alan Wiley on the Daily Whatever show so you all can meet my other gay best friend. Or it's an Alan, are my two of my very favorite humans in the world. I would wilt too. Yes, it is definitely wilt worthy, but here in the shade with a bubbly, it's kind of the best. It would only be better if I could go get in their pool. So I'm hoping they at least let me put my feet in. But the guy was like, you're not staying here. You can't go in the pool. I don't know if I can sweet talk him. I might try. Yes, I grew up in Delaware, the humidity capital of the U.S. Is that the humidity capital, Delaware? I believe it. But it's not great here either. Just in February, though, it's pretty much spectacular. And with that, I think I'm going to go. Love you all. Mean it. Thank you so much for being here. And I will let you know when I will try to give more warning next time. But if I go live again while I'm still in Florida, I can't guarantee it. I might just spontaneously go live again. I love that you were all here. Thank you so much. Bye.